What is the best non-Shining Stephen King adaptation? Well, The Shining wasn't a good Stephen King adaptation. It's good because it's its own thing. um, it went in such a bold direction of its own. Uh, Good Stephen King adaptation. The Stand had a miniseries. At the time, people liked it. It. Some people like it. Some people don't. Oh, Misery. Oh, Misery. Oh, and Carrie. Yeah, yeah. You can't. Yeah, that's that. Those are good. Well, regarding The Shining is boldly a piece of art. That is an incredible film on its own. That has its own vague, weird direction into the mist. The Shining book is a better story in terms of just by the story payoff, a setup and payoff, bookending this and that. It's a better story. You know what I mean? Like it's better in terms of what a story should do and like playing by the rules. You know what I mean? It's a great story that actually plays by the rules and makes it work well. Uh, the Shining movie plays by no rules. It's a giant fuck you piece of art, and it's vague. Does it go anywhere? Really, not much of a plot. Like that's not a knock against the movie. It's an incredible movie. It's one of my favorite films of all time. But you're kind of not there for the plot. Just like 2001: A Space Odyssey, you're not watching that for the fucking plot. That is not a plot movie. That's a movie that is an experience. There's something inside it that you feel, and you think you can understand it, but you can't. And that's how The Shining is. It's unexplainable. It's there's no way a human can understand what's going on in that movie. Um, yeah. Now you're getting me on a whole Kubrick trip. By the way, if you haven't seen the movie Eyes Wide Shut, there's a lot of people who have a lot of opinions on that movie. Oh fuck, Green Mile. Yeah, Green Mile. That's probably my favorite of Stephen King adaptations, other than The Shining. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, if you haven't seen the movie Eyes Wide Shut, there's a lot of people who go, "Oh, this movie drugs. Oh, this movie was aimless. Oh, this movie was this." It gets a lot of stigma. Sorry, I'm really insulting anybody who had criticisms about that movie. That was probably not cool of me, and I apologize. But it got Eyes Wide Shut gets kind of written off because it was his final movie. There's a lot of hype. It's still not that old. 1999 ain't that long ago, relatively, but it hasn't had the decades to make it, oh, it's a Kubrick classic. It's still kind of held as a late 90s movie that, oh, there was so much hype on his last film and it didn't meet it and da 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 da. Watch that movie now. Don't listen to anybody else. Don't listen to anybody. And don't think about, because a lot of people's criticism of it too is stuff that I don't like Tom Cruise. It was weird, him and Nicole Kidman. Throw out all the celebrity gossip that you know. Throw out anything your friend said about Eyes Wide Shut. Just sit down tonight or whatever and watch the movie. That movie is better than anyone says or will tell you. That movie is to the that movie is like The Shining but with fucking instead of ghosts. You know what I mean? And that sounds silly, but it's about much in the way that The Shining was about the unexplainable on the side of the paranormal. You can't explain these things. There's stuff going on when your eyes are closed in a room when you're not there, in a hotel that's empty. There's things going on underneath it all that you cannot explain, but it's there, and you can't win against that. The Shining, to me, kind of maintains that same kind of mystery and intrigue and darkness, but about sex. How you can be this, you could be that, you could say this, you could say that, but there will always be this dark force of it's about sex as a dark force. In my opinion, this is my interpretation of the movie, but you can do whatever you want and say, I'm an upstanding guy, I'm a doctor, and I do this. But your wife tells you about a sex dream she had, and obsession takes over. Why did she dream about that? Why did she dream about that? She doesn't like me? Why is she dreaming about that happening? I don't do that to her. I don't please her in that way. So why is she dreaming about it? Is it, that kind of shit that gets in your brain and fucks with you? It's easy to write men characters in movies and write them off as these guys just want to fart and have sex. It's because guys are relatively simple in a lot of ways, but I have a lot of respect for movies that show the side of men that are more concerned than movies normally write. Do you know what I mean? Like, I really like the movie Chasing Amy. There's things in that movie that are shitty or, whatever, just whatever. But I liked that when, the main guy, Ben Affleck's character, finds out, what's her face is not Amy, but it's been a long time since I've seen the movie, but the female lead in the movie, when he finds her sex history, it fucks with him. And he's a confident guy, but knowing that like she did it with like two dudes at the same time or like something like that. And it's like, why? She's never asked me to do that. Why have we never done that? Why? Her past fucks with him. And, when they can portray men as, kind of weirdly obsessive in the way that they are. I think women get a lot of flack for being insecure. Oh, you're a girl, you're insecure. Oh, but men have a different form of insecurity. It's less about their own confidence and more about or their own self-esteem and more about I think men are more obsessed with keeping women the same. Girls date guys thinking they can change them, and guys date girls thinking they will always be one ideal picture of a woman. And when you find out that they weren't that in the past, it fucks with you. And it's like, why aren't you that way around me? Like, why? And it's dumb because men have to realize that women are with them now because they don't like what was in their past. They're with you now. That's why. Anyway, yeah, vulnerability is the right word. Yeah, exactly that. So I like stories that have a little bit of that in it. Eyes Wide Shut has that. That's the catalyst for the whole movie. But it's kind of little slices of life throughout the city that show you like, man, you could fight it all you want, but sex is this dark fucking animal thing that will at some point control the path of something you do. How deep, how far into deep shit can you go? Whatever. It's interesting, and so you should really watch Eyes Wide Shut if you haven't. That was a long tangent, and I didn't mean to go off on that, but watch Eyes Wide Shut if you get the chance. It's a Kubrick movie. You don't need me to convince you. All right, back to editing stupid videos. Okay,